This is the CineSnob Podcast.
Hello, welcome to episode 232 of the CineSnob Podcast. I am Jerrod Kingery.
I'm Cody Villafana.
And Cody, it is, I believe, today the official last day of South by Southwest 2022.
Correct.
I think it's just sort of the cleanup after the music weekend. Of course, there was a shooting last night where 4 people were shot, so it doesn't look like anybody was seriously hurt, but still.
Not great.
South by is back, baby.
Yeah.
And you spent several days at South by. I know I actually really missed it. I felt a little FOMO.
Ooh.
Oh. I actually tried to go to Flatstock the other day.
Oh yeah.
After work, and I drove through downtown. And I was like, nah, can't do it. Can't pay $20 to go look at posters that I don't need to buy. And
I hear you. I was not able to catch Flatstock. I was not there I was gone by the time it started. So I did 3 days in Austin and then one at home.
Did you so you went to premieres or not? What was it like this year?
It was about the same, more or less. I think I felt like it was a tiny bit less crowded. I feel like there were some less people. I know I overheard that that they had like 50% less volunteers this year. So it was the first couple of days were really chaotic, and then like it started to smooth out a little bit as the week went on. But I only did big time premiere screenings for the first 2 days, and then the third day I literally just spent all day at Alamo Lamar and just watched like 5 movies there. And that was pretty simple, pretty easy.
Yeah. How was the the ancillary stuff? That was always something that was a lot of fun. Like a lot of movie, TV shows and movies would have activations, as they call them. But
yeah, I actually, for the first time probably ever, I did not partake in anything like that. There was like a big thing going on for The Boys, the Amazon show that I wanted to catch, but like I just had too much to do, and I didn't have time. I heard about a Cheetos house that there was a 2-hour line for.
I saw some of my my Austin friends posting about that. I didn't quite get what it was happening.
It was like a hands-free technology thing that was hosted by Cheetos or something.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it because of the Cheetos.
But yeah, I did a South by Southwest comedy this time around. I was able to catch a comedy show.
Who were the big performers? Because that's always the one that seems to go really under the radar.
Yeah, so I went to an ASCAT, so like an Upright Citizens Brigade, like Matt Besser improv show with like that. That Anthony Automatok guy, the guy who does the Trump. He had like the Comedy Central Trump impression.
Yeah, the cartoon, right? Or no, it was a live action show.
It was live action.
Mr. What was it? My President Show or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, the President Show or something like that. So he was there, and then John Gimberling, another funny guy. And but this year the stand-up people were like, there was a lot of there was stuff at Creek in the Cave actually was a comedy venue, and they had a lot of like New York and LA centric showcases. So like I know Rich Voss was there.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
78-year-old Rich Voss.
Yeah, he was there. Trying to think of who else. John Daly was doing some kind of stand-up thing there. Matthew Broussard, I saw, was a name.
That handsome devil.
Yeah.
I do like the Creek in the Cave. It used to be Barracuda, I believe, is what it used to be. I went to some venue there before. I believe that was where Bob Odenkirk did stand up when they had the Better Call Saul, Los Pollos Hermanos thing that year. I believe that's where he did some stand up.
Our old pal Doug Benson.
Oh, my favorite. Still my favorite South by or just random Austin guest, because you posted like you were. Like had just gotten your badge or something.
Yeah, I just got my badge. I got in line for my first thing of the festival. like
And I
an hour
posted
in.
something like on your post that said, "Let me know when you see Doug Benson," and you messaged me like 2 minutes later. He was literally right beside you.
Yeah, it is very funny how that has happened. That continues to happen where without fail every year I run into Doug Benson.
So
But
what? Go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say it was a very star heavy South by too. I saw a lot of very famous people this time around.
You told me you saw Kate Beckinsale in person,
Mm-hmm.
and we're like, yeah, ga. But
Yeah, I had the cartoon eyes popping out of my head.
yeah, my wife and I, that when we went to Conan, she was the guest, and both of us were like, "Holy shit, she is gorgeous."
Yeah, yeah. It was funny because my friend, I was sitting with my friend, so it was for the Nick Cage movie, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and so like Pedro Pascal is in there like 2 rows in front of me, Nick Cage is like 3 rows in front of me, and me and my friend both noticed Kate Beckinsale, and he was like, "Who is that? She looks like a movie star," and I was like, "That looks exactly like Kate Beckinsale, but she's not in this movie." But her daughter is in the movie, which I put together as I was watching the movie, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's Kate Beckinsale.
No, I was gonna say the one Pete Davidson dated, but he dated Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah,
Yeah, because he dated like Cindy Crawford's daughter or something, right?
something like
know.
that. Yeah,
Anyway.
he dated Kate Beckinsale, but I saw. Yeah, let's see who else. Celebrity sightings. Brittany Snow.
Okay.
For the X premiere, Brittany Snow, Kid Cudi were both there. Saw Jenny Slate from Marcel the Shell with shoes on. Who else?
Were
I
you
saw
there?
Phoebe Bridgers at Alamo Draft House just hanging out.
Was she sad?
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Did you? Were you at the Everything Everywhere All at Once premiere?
I was not at that premiere.
Okay. But you did see it at the festival.
No, I saw it.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That's right. You saw that as
outside
a
of it.
screener.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of celeb sightings, which is cool. The talent was there. I saw Patton Oswalt wheel by on his on his broken leg.
How long has he had that broken leg? It seems like it's been a while.
I don't know, but it's funny because he's like apparently the only thing that fits over the cast is tracksuits. So he's that's all he's wearing right now is just tracksuits. So
He's like one of his jokes come to life.
yeah.
So just quickly, what did you see there? You already mentioned the Nick Cage movie.
Yeah, which we'll talk about here like in a month or so when it comes out, which was pretty fun. The one that Patton Oswalt's in actually is a really good movie. It ended up winning the jury award, but it's a movie called I Love My Dad. And it's like it's a true story that the director, is in and he stars in, where basically this guy's dad like is estranged from him a little bit, and so his dad creates like a Facebook profile of like a pretty girl and basically catfishes his son. And then the relationship kind of escalates. And it's very uncomfortable to watch, but really good. Besides that, I'm trying to think. Saw
Marcel the Shell with shoes on, right?
Yeah, Marcel the Shell with shoes on was okay. I saw the new Richard Linklater movie, which I wasn't too crazy about.
Yeah, I saw the trailer. I feel like Richard Linklater makes like one good movie every 10 years, and it's just a bunch of like, oh yeah, I forgot about that in between.
I think he's a little bit more consistent than that, but there is stuff that like, there's this movie is it's like a very specific nostalgia trip kind of thing, where it just goes on and on and on about stuff he remembers from like the late 60s. and it's just like, God damn, man, we get it. Like, we get it. You played stickball outside with your friends and stuff. Like, we just don't. Anyway, it takes a really long time to get through. But I saw a good documentary called Spaz that I was telling you about this the guy who was basically on the forefront of modern CGI and worked on Jurassic Park, and then basically screwed himself out of the business. Got fired from ILM and never really recovered from it. That was pretty good. I saw X at the festival, which we'll talk about a little bit today. Trying to think of what else that was at least a lot of really small stuff, a lot of competition films. But yeah, no, it was a good time. It was good to go back to an in-person festival. Had my mask on basically the entire time.
Was that required? Because I saw that a lot. Was it required for the venues?
So it's tough to say because technically speaking, I think yes, and they made an announcement, which was actually kind of cool. So before, when they're doing their intros and stuff, they basically said we prefer we are asking you to put your mask on if you're not eating or drinking. And then like everyone in the venue put their mask on. Now they weren't wearing them when they came in, but they would put them on when they were asked to. So, I feel like if it would have been mandatory, people would have followed, but I think it was preferred but not required.
Yeah. Well, okay. Anything else to add before we move on?
No, just a little bit. Like again, it was there was some stuff in disarray. There was a big fiasco with the clear bag policy at the Paramount and Stateside Theater, where apparently they, even with a press bag, they were like if you're press and you wanted to get a bag in, you had to get it tagged, at like a booth. They weren't letting press in with their backpacks or anything like that into those venues. So
what a nightmare.
Yeah.
Do they still hand out bags to you, like the tote bags?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're literally handed a bag that you can't take in.
I think they were allowing totes, but like backpacks you could not bring in.
That makes zero sense.
Yeah.
For any kind of security.
Well, and they make the excuse that's like, well, we don't want to have to search bags like we would normally do, and they've searched your bag anyway. Like, it's like, what the fuck is the point of any of this? But yeah.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to reviews.
Here are this week's reviews.
First up, we have Deep Water.
Vic, I want to introduce you to my friend Charlie.
Hi. Yeah, I'm Charlie. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for giving my wife piano lessons.
Yeah, no, of course. And she's a real natural, so it's my pleasure. Have we met before?
I don't think so.
I think you both remember.
Oh.
Yeah, pleasure.
Yeah, have a nice night, man. Nice to meet you.
This is an erotic thriller starring one-time couple, Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas. I think the most I knew about this movie was it's been delayed like almost 2 years.
Yeah, always a good sign.
Yeah, always really positive. But it was finally released on Hulu. It was supposed to be a theatrical release in 2020, but it was finally released on Hulu this past weekend. So, Cody, tell us about Deep Water and what you thought of it.
Yeah, a really funny byproduct of this is that when the screener came out for this, it actually came out on the Walt Disney streaming platform.
Yes.
And so you have a movie in which Ana de Armas pulls a pube out of her mouth that was on the Disney streaming platform, which was pretty funny. But yeah, as you said, it's an erotic thriller that manages to not be neither erotic nor thrilling. I don't think. Where it's difficult to really kind of get into the meat of the movie without spoiling it, even though it's very clear early on what's going on. I think that the mystery of it, like once it reveals itself, the movie just kind of starts repeating. Where basically you get a sense that there's like an agreement between the couple where Ana de Armas' character seems pretty unhappy within the marriage, and she's screwing around with other men, and you get a sense that Ben Affleck is okay with it and aware of it, and then as the movie goes on, you start to realize he's not okay with it, and then basically that's just sort of where it goes from there. It is funny to me that this was like the movie that they fell in love on, because they have zero chemistry, and they basically fucking hate each other the entire movie, and so it's I don't think it's either of their faults. I think that the script for this movie is truly terrible, where I don't think either of them behave like real people, especially like Ana de Armas. I think that she's written really poorly. Basically, the only character trait she has is horny, and then, like that's about the depth of her character. But then it just starts becoming obvious because all of these men she's bringing around start disappearing, and yet she continues to bring around the men. As a friend of mine put it, as he watched the movie, he said "fuck boys falling from the sky" was basically what was going on, which I thought was very appropriate because that's what happens. It's just she, like I said, that the story just starts repeating itself over and over again, where she brings a guy around, he gets pissed, and then they mysteriously disappear, and I wonder where they're going. And then there's like a weird subplot where Ben Affleck is a snail wrangler.
I saw a tweet that said like Adrian Lin, the director, said he was really good with the snails.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah. And so again, I just don't like again, to call it an erotic thriller, I truly think is misleading because again, I think that like there needs to be some sort of like sexual chemistry or something to classify it as such. And again, these are two characters who essentially hate each other. I've seen some people compliment the fact that like the nastiness of it, which again, I think that there's a difference between nastiness and just downright unpleasant to watch. And like the I've seen a lot of talk about the psychopathic tendencies of their daughter who's just insane, and again not written as a child either. Again, I think both of them are acting perfectly fine. I think Affleck is solid as he has been in recent history, but they're let down by a script that just sucks out loud. It's just bad.
I want to also really quickly touch on poor Tracy Letts.
Oh, yeah.
His final scene is so terrible.
Dude,
so
there's
terrible.
The way that the ending of that scene unfolds, where there's a bike accident that is almost comically constructed.
There's also a very comical like cursing of autocorrect.
Yeah.
Anyway, this movie is not only does the story suck, it's so fucking boring.
Yeah.
Like it's terminally boring, and it's supposed to be an erotic thriller. Like it's supposed to be at some point, like, first of all, it's not very erotic.
Right.
I mean, there's sex scenes and there's a little bit of nudity, but it doesn't really paint itself as anything other than like Ana de Armas cheating on Ben Affleck. And
well, I just wanted to say real quickly too is that like I'm sorry I forgot about this, but like the idea and notion of divorce is not brought up until an hour into the movie, where it's like, why the fuck are we watching this couple fight, but like not communicating about any of it?
Yeah, and it doesn't really. Like, I don't get what's the, like, because there's, like you said, there seems to be at the beginning of the movie, like, some sort of agreement. Like, there's a thrill that Affleck's character gets from this. Yeah. Or, whatever. And that he's also sort of flirtatious with other women and whatnot. But it just nothing ever goes anywhere, and by the time that you get the idea that he doesn't like it and these guys are disappearing, well, then the movie's pretty telegraphed for you. But then there's a shot at the end, there's a specific thing at the end that made me think the movie has a different meaning, like that
like there's something nefarious going on her end of things.
Right. Like this is part of it.
Right.
And I don't know that that's really what was intended, because it ends pretty ambiguously.
Well, no, and I think the movie kind of goes out of its way to show how distraught she is at certain things happening. And so if that was what was going on, it doesn't track at all.
But then, like, you know, all of these guys are disappearing that come across her, and
but she's still inviting him over for dinner and stuff. You know, like even though the past 3 men that she's dated have just mysteriously disappeared.
One dies in a pool party. But also, what the fuck is Lil Rel doing in this movie? I mean, good for him for getting work, but what the fuck, man? Him and the other guy, it's Dash Minnock, who I can't remember what else he was in, but like he and Lil Rel are like Affleck's friends who do nothing.
Yeah,
like they just sort of comment on what's happening a little bit, and then that's it. And look, man, this thing sucks. And I could see why it was delayed, because it's just a mess. Like it doesn't. It's dull and it doesn't make sense.
Right, and again, like it whiffs on both the erotic and the thriller part. Like again, it's not exciting. It's not like it's not even like campy. Like it needs to be campy. It's so straightforward and serious. Like if it had a little bit of camp or some levity to it, or you know, something like that, it would be better. But as it stands right now, it's just an ugly piece of cinema. You know, it's just not fun to watch. It's poorly written, and it's not. It doesn't have any sex appeal to it. It doesn't have any excitement to the story. It's just a bad movie.
And Adrian Lin, like he hasn't been around since what was his last film? Was Unfaithful, which was 20 years ago, and then he did a version of Lolita, 9.5 Weeks, and Fatal Attraction, probably his 2 best known movies. But I mean, this guy's been out of the erotic thriller game for a long time.
Yeah,
and I don't know that he still has the chops, but man, this movie is very, very. It's bad. It's just bad. What's your grade for Deepwater, Cody?
Deepwater, I give a D.
Yes, a D for dick that you don't get to see in the movie. So
much to your chagrin.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't get to see Ben Affleck's hog, which you kind of a little bit see in Gone Girl, but
yeah.
Anyway.
Was that on Ms. Skin that you found that?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Mrs. Skin, because it's for older women.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, okay, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, X.
Farmer's daughter, take one. I need to be famous, Wayne. All the best people are.
There ain't nobody else out there like you.
You know why?
Why?
Because you got that X Factor. Our days of struggling may soon be over.
Hollywood, here we come.
So this is it. Our own studio backlot.
You looking for a place to stay? Oh, yes, sir.
That's one ugly son of a bitch.
And my wife, her was next door, so I would appreciate a little discretion.
He don't know what we're doing, does he?
Oh, it's better to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission.
Would you like to come inside?
Much obliged.
I want to be in the movie.
Well, you can't. The story can't just change midway through.
So this is an erotic, not an erotic, but like a horror. What would you call it, Cody? You saw it.
It's like a horror that is sort of like in the spirit of like old slasher exploitation kind of stuff, where it's heavily set in like the world of porno.
Okay, yes. So this is a film you saw at South by. I didn't get a chance to see it, but it hit theaters this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about X. And X gonna give it to you.
Yeah,
Cody's gonna give it to us.
Yeah. Well, okay.
R.I.P. R.I.P.
Yeah.
DMX.
So it's a pretty simple plot, which is simply that a group of people who are like rent this house on a farm to shoot porno in, and the owner is kind of weird, and then it kind of turns into a slasher movie where everyone starts dying as a result and getting murdered and stuff. So, you know, it's a very traditional slasher movie where, you know, people get really upset about using the term like elevated horror, and, you know, when they're talking about stuff like, you know, it's high concept or stuff like Hereditary or, you know, all that stuff. And this is very much not that. It is very much a very straightforward slasher movie, you know, that has plenty of jump scares and brutal kills and you know, Chekhovian callbacks. Is that what we can call them?
That's how you say it.
Yeah, but you know, I think it's an example of a movie where I think is well made, but it's just not for me. You know, I've never been one for slasher movies that are just kind of straightforward slasher movies. You know, again, I think it's well made, it's well acted. Everyone in it does a really good job. Jenna Ortega, Brittany Snow, Mia Goth, they're all really, really good in it. And it's certainly earns its R rating, I guess, I'll say. And like I said, there's brutal, bloody kills and stuff like that. But and then, you know, under the surface, it's not as if it's just shallow. There is a little bit of a commentary on aging that is part of it as well. But for me, again, too straightforward of a slasher movie that's just not kind of not my thing. I don't think it's a bad movie or a poorly made movie by any stretch, but just kind of, you know, the whole jump scare, bloody slasher kind of thing is just not my style.
So what, did you see this as a premiere at South by?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How was the vibe for that? Because this feels like the thing that would really thrive at South by.
Yeah, the vibe was great. I mean, it was a 10:30 p.m. premiere, and so it was, you know, it was a late start, and the cast was there, and it was an intimate, you know, the Stateside Theater is not that big, and so it was, you know, a tense environment for sure. A lot of people reacting to the jump scares. The guy sitting next to me was acting like he had never seen a horror movie before, just fucking jumping out of his skin at every single thing. And so, but yeah, it was a good crowd for that, for sure.
Cool. Well, what's your grade for X?
Again, my grade is a C+, but please take my grade with a grain of salt. I think if you are a horror fan and you do like slashers, I think that this will probably scratch the itch. It's just not something that is that I'm super into. So
it's been really well reviewed. I believe it's sitting at like 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is
and I don't mind being on the wrong side of stuff like that. If you know whatever people are into, that's
I mean, I'm not a big horror fan myself, so you got to really jazz it up for me. But cool. That's gonna do it for this week. Next week, Cody, Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I believe The Lost City. Are you going to see The Lost City?
I probably will, yeah.
Because I did get an invite to a screening, but I'm not going to be able to make it. So I'm going to have to double up on going to the theater next week.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to talk about Everything Everywhere All at Once. I saw that this past week.
Yeah, I got the last-minute screening invite to that, too, and I couldn't go.
Yeah,
which disappointed me. It was a very short notice screening.
Yeah, that was how it was for everyone in Texas. Basically, there's a certain company that was covering it that I think was inundated with South by stuff and maybe just slipped through the cracks.
Yeah. Oops. Sorry. We have a
movie tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And it was sent at like 11:30 p.m. the night before. Like it was not great.
I am really looking forward to that movie. We saw a preview of it when we actually rewatched The Batman last weekend, and I saw a preview for that one, and it looks really, really interesting. So.
Yeah, well, the guys who made Swiss Army Man. That was their first, and then one of the guys made The Death of Dick Long, which is a movie I really like. So,
yeah. Cool. Well, if you want to reach us, you can email us at podcast@cinesnob.net. Find us on Twitter at CineSnob. And then Facebook, CineSnobNet. YouTube.com/CineSnob. Cody, did I see this right? Is The Ramble coming back?
The Ramble is back. young Jerry Rocha is cancer-free.
Oh, for real?
For real.
That's awesome. That's great news.
Yeah, he finished his final round of chemo, cancer-free. Everything is clean and gone. So
wow, nice.
Yeah.
And he's all back to normal, because I know he had some other things going on.
Yeah, I think he can start using his his body again.
Okay, his God-given orifices.
Yeah, I
okay,
think that's next on the list of stuff.
Okay,
that's
good.
That's happening. Yeah,
good to
if
know.
you want to hear like graphic content of that, you can listen to the ramble.
I didn't know how much of that was public knowledge. So
oh no, we have constant colostomy bag conversations.
Okay,
on that
yeah,
show,
I was just wondering if he got to use his own asshole again. So.
Yeah, not yet, but
not yet.
Real soon.
It is on the list. All right, cool. Anything else before we go, Cody? This is a short show.
And I think we might come back here on Monday of next week because we have the Oscars on Sunday.
Oh, I totally forgot about that. We were going to talk Oscars. I'm still not caught up on Oscar movies. I had a tough year last year in award season, but I do want to watch Power of the Dog because I know that's a big front runner, and I want to know what everybody's talking about.
I don't think it's gonna be your thing, but I don't know.
I mean, I align heavily with Sam Elliott's opinions, so.
Oh boy.
No, I'm kidding, of course.
Yeah, there's some stuff I haven't seen. I mean, I think Jessica Chastain's probably gonna win, but that movie is apparently really bad, and I have not seen it.
The Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either. I remember. Wasn't that a summer release? I feel like it came out a long time ago.
It came out a while back, yeah, and it just like was not critically well received, but I think like is one of those things where she's been campaigning in the right way and pulling out wins. So it's going to be interesting. I think Best Picture is kind of wide open right now. It's The Power of the Dog was really leading the way for a long time, and then Coda has snuck in with PGA and SAG. So
I've seen a lot more online backlash to Coda now.
Of course, right. Yeah, where were these people when the movie came out in August? It's weird because like Apple TV did such a terrible job with the release of the movie, and now they're like killing it with the awards part of it, which is so weird because that movie like came and went without a whimper. Like it just it was just there and gone. But now that, and someone had a good point that like Coda only had like 4 Oscar nominations, but that might be because people are actually finally seeing it once it's been nominated, and they're, it's like, so like people are seeing it late in the game when people might be forgetting about Power of the Dog. So there could be like a recency bias that occurs, but it will be interesting. The online backlash towards Coda is stupid though. I'm really not a fan of
I still been wanting to pick up watching West Side Story.
Oh yeah.
Another one that I pointed out to you is on both Disney Plus and HBO Max for whatever unknown streaming rights reasons that might be. But I feel like that one. I don't know. There's just something about it that I feel like if I missed out on it before the Oscars, I wouldn't understand it because I've never actually seen the first one either. So the original film, I should say. But
yeah.
Anyway, whatever. All right. Yeah. What are your early predictions for Best Picture?
So I think a lot depends on what's going to happen with WGA tonight. I still think that The Power of the Dog probably has the juice to get there. But if like Coda wins WGA today, then all bets are off. So,
well, we'll see. Yeah, we'll recap that on the next episode, which will probably come out Monday. So, all right. Anything else?
That's it.
All right. On that note, I'm Jerrod Kingery.
I'm Cody Villafana.
Thank you for listening to the CineSnob Podcast. To read reviews, interviews, and more, visit cinesnob.net. See you next week.